talked about the importance of spacing in this series. Is there a struggle right now with maybe getting some of the defenders you want on the floor while maintaining that spacing at the same time?
Yeah, I think guys that are throughout the year have been active cutters. They're trying to do those things that made them successful through the season, but the way they're guarding, everybody's in the paint. And so if we have one person flooding in front of the rim, we need the other two people to space properly. The way they're guarding, the goal would be to create more three-point opportunities on the backside. We know that we don't shoot a lot of threes throughout the season, but you have to take what's been given to you. And I didn't think we did that. I thought we got impatient with that, and guys were collapsing on one another, which is exactly what they want. So we talked about that, being confident to be spaced, to let the ball find you, and be confident to shoot it.
What else did you learn watching the film about why you guys lost that game?
We sucked. We did. We were not physical. I thought our engagement was very individually based. It wasn't team engaged. We know that. And the guys owned it today. We watched the film session. I can't do a lot with 3 o'clock game tomorrow, but you can definitely walk through, go through the detailed things that have to get better. And that's not just going to solve it. Like, schematics don't solve playoff wins. They can help you stay in a game, but our physical nature has to geek up, and it wasn't good enough yesterday.
I feel like the perception outside of the team is that, oh, this is done. It's like put a fork in it.
Yeah.
What's the mood like with you guys? Because it's still just 2-1. One win tomorrow, and it's a brand new series.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way we felt. The game got away from us. I think I said it yesterday, but the only regret I had was not taking our guys out earlier, knowing what's coming tomorrow. But you can kind of see in their faces they wanted to get back out there and feel it again. And sometimes you can find things in a game that you get blown out. I thought they were more engaged to start the fourth quarter. And, it's funny. I thought that unit with DeAndre out there, we took out, CB, Jamal, and Nikola. We couldn't score, but defensively we were so active and we were physical. And you saw screens being set offensively. That has to translate to our starting five. They can't just flow with the game. And sometimes when you start as well as we did and we were scoring easily, you think that's what the game's going to be, but that's never going to be what it is. The Clippers are what they are, a high-level defensive team that plays a lot of aggressive length coming off their bench. We have to know that is what the game actually is. And on the flip side of that, we've been the number one transition team offensively, which is great, but that doesn't translate in a series like this. So we've got to calm down and execute offensively. Too many empty possessions for a team that has been great offensively all season long, but this isn't December. This is the playoffs. Be more responsible that way. If we do that, give ourselves a better chance defensively just by being more organized offensively.
Do you still feel like there are ways for you guys to dictate the terms offensively instead of taking the shots that they want you to take, or does it really need to be like this? We just have to hit those backside threes, and it's going to come down to what the role players can do.
Well, I think if you want me to answer that, just think of the Clippers. I mean, we did some things differently. Kawhi 7 for 17. I think James was 6 for 14. So they're both shooting under 50%, and they absolutely blew us out. So it shows you if you dictate to people, they have to take what you give them, and what we gave them was their role players got to shoot 3-pointers, and they made shots. And obviously guys make shots at home more often than they do on the road, but I give them credit. They were confident, they stepped up, they made shots. Zubac is great in the pocket. He was calm down there and physical. Every game is going to be different, and I do believe that for us to win the series, outside of Jamal and Nikola, those other guys have to be confident to shoot the ball. You saw what Aaron did at the start of the game. We need that. If he's open, they go under, he's got to shoot the ball. But that's going to help us. If we're organized, I think those shots will come easier. And I thought we were trying to play faster and faster and faster as the game got away from us. And that's going to work against certain teams in the middle of the season, like I said, but not in a playoff game. So that was addressed, and I think it'll translate to tomorrow.
Coach, Michael Porter is not going to be 100%. There were some comments about him saying, or someone saying, 20%, he's 30%. Where does he have to be for you to have confidence to play him?
I mean, if Mike's available, he's going to play. He's, in our starting five. He stretches the floor. I know he didn't shoot the ball well yesterday, but we need Michael's presence. He's 6'10". Game 2, I know he had the 15-rebound game. And, he's not 20 or 30%. Like, I don't know who gauges that stuff. He's available to play. Okay. So he'll be fine. And that's like saying that no one's 100% right now. Aaron's not 100%. Nicole's not 100%. Just like the Clippers. All their guys have ailments at this part of the season. So Michael is one of our guys. I mean, he's a mainstay here. If he's available to play, he will play.
Did you get a better feel for what Russ is dealing with and maybe have an idea of what his availability will look like tomorrow?
Yeah, they checked him out this morning. I know he's still questionable. So we'll kind of gauge that as we go. And if Russ plays or doesn't play, we're going to take a look at our rotation. We may play different people to see who can impact the game with how they're guarding and how we're trying to guard and to do it at a better level. And maybe some other guys out there can bring a different energy. And, it's all hands on deck game 4. Like, we win this, this game, it puts the series at a 3-game series, what you want, knowing that you have 2 games at home. So it's all on the table for us, man. And people can say whatever they want. You got blown out. Well, we could have won the first 2 games too. Like, give them credit that they were ready to go. They played great. They took advantage of the home court. Now we have to bounce back and try to even this thing up.
You've asked for more.
Is it a left foot? Is it left foot inflammation or was it a hip?
It was the foot.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think when I walked in, I for some reason mistakenly heard them say hip.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, but it was definitely his foot. Like I said, he got looked at today. I know he's in some pain, but Russ, very stubborn guy. Like, if he's ready to play, he will play, and we need him.
You've hoped to see more communication amongst the players, and can that breed tension as well? Is it a fine line to walk, and how do you think they're navigating that?
I don't mind the tension, man. Like, that should have been a tense moment. Like, we got blown out, and I think you have to be honest with one another and to find the right answers the next day. It has to come in the moment. And so frustration, when there's frustration and people are going at each other a little bit, there's actually answers to be found in that. I don't think anybody should be calm, give each other a hug when you're down by 30 points. So that's natural, and they're competitive. And what that leads to is a better conversation today when people put things on the table. And again, like I keep using the word translate, but it has to translate. Talk, walkthroughs, all this stuff. The way we played has to change, not just the schematics, not just the, we're making shots, we're not making shots. No, it's how we engage the game as a team. That's got to change for us to win game 4.
Kind of building off of that, how much pressure is there for tomorrow? Because 3-1 is way different than 2-2. And do you want them to embrace that pressure? Do you want them to ignore that pressure? How do you want them to approach it?
No, I think all these games are its own chapter. I've said that. They're completely unique to each other. So every game should embrace that way. And obviously, you can't rely on the fact that, in the past we've come back from 3-1 before. Like, that's not what we're trying to do here. So if we got to that point, that's what it is. That's a different conversation. That's chapter 5. Chapter 4 is an opportunity to take back home court. And that's what it is, man. Like, they came to Denver, they won 1 game. And how they won it, how we won those games, it doesn't matter. Like, the math is the math. 2-1 to 2-2 puts us in a really good position. So especially with the 2 days off, going back home. So our only focus is tomorrow and do the best we can.
Coach, you always say that Nikola makes the right play 99% of the time.
Yeah.
With that being said, and you need offense, would it be a good idea to have him shoot the ball more or try to impose his will scoring-wise?
Yeah, there's a balance there. I thought they did a good job of kind of stunting, falling, showing bodies, getting back. I think it'll help him to watch the film like he did today. And I thought the start of the 4th quarter said a lot. He immediately went to work and scored, knowing that they were kind of stunting, falling, not really doubling. Obviously, when Simmons comes in, it's a little bit different. They're fronting him, they're doubling him. And so just feeling the game out for him is playing in space. But we got to help him. We got to space correctly. Like I said, if he does draw 2 people, you can't have 2 offensive players standing in the paint together. And I know sometimes if that's what I've done all year to be successful, that's good, but this is a different kind of thing. And you have to space the court correctly. Got to take advantage of it, have confidence, like I said, and shoot the ball when you're open. We cannot live in butter, meaning the last 7 seconds of the shot clock, driving back into one of the best defenses in the NBA. It's not going to lead to anything positive. So we know that, and we'll adjust.
Did the disparity in physicality jump off the screen?
Yes.
At you guys, and how did the guys react to that?
They owned it. And, I think the physicality thing is more about, the starting point of each possession. That's the thing. If you're not physical and then you try to be physical late, they shoot 28 free throws because you're reactionary. You're reactionary against Kawhi, James, and all these guys. So, yeah, I thought game 1 and 2, that was not the case. I thought we met that early on and throughout those games. Maybe not late in the first quarter, early second of the first game. Besides that, I felt like we're right there. And yesterday, I thought when things got away from us a little bit, that went away. And you can't let that happen. You have to stay professional when you're down 10, up 10, whatever it is, and just know that these games are going to be that way. They're going to be officiated that way. And we know that, and it has to get better tomorrow.
Coach, you're 3 games into your coaching tenure as a coach in the playoffs. What have you learned about your team that maybe surprised you, that you didn't know, that maybe opened your eyes as a head coach that kind of changed a little bit?
Honestly, not much. Today was exactly what I thought it would be. We had talked about this as a group. We've been through, if you go back, some of the games we've lost. I mean, I'm really dating myself, but San Antonio, our first playoff experience with Jamal and Nikola, Derek White dropping 45 on us, in Game 3, and us coming back and winning Game 4. The 4 overtime loss to Portland, win, kind of like this situation, come back and win the game at a 3 p.m. Sunday game in Portland. So we've been through it. I think the most important part is the guys that weren't there, the faces that weren't there, understanding that that's who we are. We will bounce back. We had a really strong mental group throughout the years. Our top 2 players have been here forever that won a championship, have been through that. So we've been through all the success and joy that everybody remembers, but please remember also some of the heartache that we've had. And yesterday was one of those nights, man. Like you don't forget a game like that. It was embarrassing to lose on TV like that and everything else that goes into it. What's on the line. But I expect the guys to come together and have a really good effort tomorrow.
One more.
How do Nikola and Jamal, being through what they've been through, the years of playoff experience, how do they give the rest of the group confidence?
I think by being who they are and the fact that they've grown up and, we saw them as kids and now we see them as dads and men that have been through a lot and had a lot of success. Lead, be vocal. And part of leading is how calm you can be and lead at the same time in really tough situations. And I think they'll do that because that's who they've been over these years. And that's what gives me confidence, not just them, but these other guys being, playing with Aaron, playing with Jamal and Nikola. That gives me great solace that we're going to be okay because these guys have seen everything, done everything, literally done everything. So, I'm excited for tomorrow. I said that before Game 3. My excitement obviously went away as the game went on. But no, I think Game 4, we're going to embrace it as best we can. We know the challenge. We know how good they are. So you got to meet their level, and then you got to surpass it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.